Hey everyone, Broheen here from the Gamer Emporium channel, also known as TGE. So, this is going to be the first Rift video for the channel for Rift 2.7, and I know a lot of you guys have been wondering about mage tanking and what that entails. Well, we're going to look at just that today, the Arbiter spec, pulling right up into it. This is what the soul tree looks like. This is basically the standard build from the preset, but I didn't choose the preset. All I did was use the same rolls that were in the preset. So it goes 61 Arbiter, fill up that tree the entire way. 10 in Warlock. Now the 5 goes into Magical Affinity, and 5 into Vitality. Also use 5 in Stormcaller. You want to put that in high voltage, increases damage done by 5%, reduces damage taken by 5%. So there's not really a lot used out of the Stormcaller tree. In fact, there's not really a lot used out of the Warlock tree either. It's more or less just for increasing the amount of charge your abilities generate. With mage tanking, you really need to use your charge consistently over and over, repeatedly gaining full charge and diminishing your charge. So there is a few macros that I use, but they're fairly simple. Excuse me, got a frog in my throat. So the spec and how it goes, we're going to start off with buffs and the abilities on the bar, and then we'll show you out here in the Steps of Infinity down by Fort and Tapo. We'll take a look at how the actual tanking aspect of it works. So there's 5 buffs you're going to use plus a crystal. Arcane Ward is basically like the equivalent to the Rogue's Guardian phase. It enables you to have deflect, and a few other things in here you can read on the screen right there if you want. Energize Vitality is an endurance buff. Aqueous Blessing reduces incoming damage. Ebb and Flow is basically a buff that generates other buffs as you use charge and reduce charge. And then Dark Armor from the Warlock tree, as well as your Arbiter Crystal if you've got it. Couple key things to note. Arbiter has Frosted Ward. This does not stack with Arcane Ward. It reduces your threat by 50%, and it increases the damage you do, as well as healing that you do if you do any. It's good for like fights where you have to have tank swaps. It makes it really easy to lose the threat and give it to your other tank. Oh, what's next? You have 3 cooldowns. Awesome. You have 3 cooldowns: Shield Surge, Mana Aegis, and Shield of the North Wind. I've got Break Free on the bar. Choking Flood and Icy Command are your pulls. One is an AoE pull, this one's an AoE pull, and this one's a single target pull. We'll show you that in just a moment. Shared Agony is a utility buff. You can pick an ally to use it on, and it'll give them the mage's toughness and intercepts 50% of the damage they receive. So it's basically a cooldown for you to save somebody else, as well as Crystalline Shield. You can put that on a raid member, and when their hit points hit 0, they get a 50% shield, so the healer can actually try to revive that person and keep them living. Swirling Winds is another self-buff utility. It increases damage of your charge-consuming abilities by 20%, and it basically gives you full charge. That plus 140 charge gives you a full bar of charge. Misdirection, also another utility. I have this macroed in but up on the screen to watch it. Buffs the raid member, all the members of their group. Transfers all of the threat generated and 10% of the damage taken by the allies to the mage tank. So then we just have spams, 2 different spams, an AE spam and a charge consuming spam, as well as a threat spam. The threat spam in this case is just another version of like an AoE spam, except it does the same ability over and over. So it's good to grab threat. We have interrupt, we have a heal, which actually, the heal might not look like it's that great, but it actually comes in handy just because it depletes all of your charge. Avalanche is a movement ability. You charge at the enemy. Biting Wind and Frozen Volition are 2 taunts that you're going to need for sure. Taunt all the time, no matter what. And I keep Icy Blast on the bar in case I don't want to consume charge with my spam and I need to do AoE charge spam. I'll just spam Icy Blast. Does damage up to 10 enemies around the enemy that you have targeted. So, also, the new macro screen, this thing kicks ass. Love it. Way better than it used to be. So, the first AE spam, we'll put these, I'm not going to go through, listing everything. I'll have these in the description box of the video. You guys can copy and paste them right out of there. So this one's a Shattered Reflection to show, and then suppress macro failures like I always do. And then these are your abilities that you want to have in there for your main spam. Your charge spam, which is button number 2, show Glacial Spike, suppress macro failures. A little bit about this macro. You cast Counter Shock because every time you block or deflect or parry, you can kind of counter attack. You start off with a Glacial Spike, and then every Icy Fury that you cast reduces the cooldown of Glacial Spike. So this is where most of your damage is going to come in. Cloudburst is in both of these macros from the Stormcaller tree, just for in case you need to attack something that's at a distance from you rather than in melee. So your threat gainer is show vortex, suppress macro failures. Misdirections in there, we already explained what that happened. Counter shock once again. Once you cast vortex, it hits the enemies in front of you pretty heavily, and then you get about 4 jolting waves for free cast. So it gains charge and gains a lot of threat. And then galvanic strike and cloudburst are just your either melee or range single target attack. This one's just a mouse over UI for Crystalline Shield in case I have to protect somebody in the raid. You could do the same thing with Shared Agony if you like. I made a swap macro just so it's labeled here like when to use the ability, what's the appropriate time when I have to swap and reduce my threat. This is what I hit. And then of course an interrupt. So that's it for the macros. So keep an eye up here for when I'm attacking these guys to show you, what happens with the charge. You'll notice that a couple key points here, when you go above 75 charge, you get a shield. When you drop below 25 charge, by using an ability to drop below 25 charge, you get another shield. For having full charge, you also get a shield. And for completely depleting all your charge, you get another shield. Also, by using the Avalanche, it applies 2 of the shields for you right off the bat. So, let's jump into it. Find some mobs. We're going to buff up. I'm going to start off by showing you a pull. So we're going to start with the AoE pull. This is going to be obviously with Choking Flood. It's a single target pull, and you have to have the enemy selected. Icy Command, it's supposed to be from all directions, I guess is what I'm figuring, but it doesn't do that. It's still a directional pull, even though the actual graphic of it being used is terrible. It looks cool, but it's terrible because it makes you think it should suck everything around you in, when in fact it does not do that. So we're going to target him. We're going to pull with Icy Command. And then you start spamming. After a few of those, go to your threat. So it hits with Vortex. And these are your jolts. Jolting wave. So now by now you have tons of aggro. So what you want to do is use your heal. And they knocked my shield off right away. Then use Swirling Winds to gain the charge. And then use your charge consuming abilities. Drop your charge back down. Watch what happens when I go under 25. Oh, there was the extra shield. Now by gaining it, when we hit 75, there's a little more shield. So it's just back and forth, AE spam, and charge spam. back and forth, all the way from 0 to 100 and back. What's nice about, you know, that little soothing water and swirling winds, you can completely use it all, heal, and then completely gain it all back with extra damage. So some of these mage tanks, I ran TDQ yesterday, I was hitting 10k in TDQ with this mage tank spec. So we're going to go ahead and pull another mob, show you, watch the health here. When I charge, I'll gain a shield. There it is. Now we're at full charge, so we're going to start using charge. Once we get below 25, there's more shield. Gonna gain again once we go above 75. I don't get it because I have some buffs up here. You'll have to read what they do. Apparently part of my KBM is in the way. But there's overheated, supercharged, recharging, and there's one other one, I think glaciate. So those I'm still a little bit unclear about what they do exactly and how they affect tanking, but what I do works, and you shouldn't have to worry about it too much. It sort of takes care of itself. Once I kill this mob, I'll go into some gear, show you the gear, and then we will call it a day there. Actually, I want to show you here an AoE pull. There they are, and then you can taunt and get all of them. This class is really sparkly. Here's Icy Blast, consuming charge all the way up until it's done, and you can mix and match which you know macros you use when, as long as you keep the charge flowing up and down repeatedly. That's all that matters. Oh, guess that's my invite for raid. So that's it. Everything pretty much explained in a nutshell. And you guys can, you know, have some fun tanking raids. I'm just gonna open the gear here, this will take care of itself. This is a crafted item, one of the new crafted items with an averting stellar augment on it. Here's the Hunt Legends Fortifying Cloak, which is also new. Still using a few pieces of DPS gear, but I have 4 pieces from the Rift store, so that way it completes my crystal set. A very stately substantial waistband is also crafted. This blue item I found in Stormbreaker Protocol. New runes too, like this Auroral rune of Twin Rune of Endurance. Those are awesome to have. I made this staff just more or less boost my toughness. I have the relic wand. Right now I'm using a cleric neck for the endurance. Trinket out of IDH. Ring I found in Exodus of the Storm Queen for tanking. Then the T, I think this is T2. Yeah, T2 gear or ring upgraded. My Prion's Crystal, and then a crafted Averting Unshakable Defiance. I don't have my essences yet, so I'm using all my DPS essences, but that'll come in due time. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I apologize about having to clear my throat a lot. I still have, you know, allergies happening here in the springtime, so it's a little obnoxious, but hopefully you can deal with it. So any questions about tanking, or if there's anything that you guys think I should learn, please let me know. We are 100% open to comments and constructive criticism. Just try not to be too harassing. That's what we don't appreciate, is the harassment. So other than that, folks, on that note, enjoy the new channel. I hope to see you guys in the future, you know, checking out some videos, and I hope that I can help you guys progress in the game a little more and teach you many things. So alright guys, have a good night. Thanks for watching.